When I talk about free market capitalism, a lot of people who apparently are not so smart actually think that I'm referring to the United States. No, I'm not. Are you nuts? No, we don't have a free market capitalism in this country. We don't have an unhampered free market. We have varying degrees, increasing degrees of government intervention and controls that are stifling the market. We never had free market capitalism in the United States. The closest this country ever got to it was perhaps, for the almost the entire duration of the 19th century and a little bit into the 20th century. But free market capitalism is still an unattained ideal. And to illustrate how far what we presently have here in the United States and globally is from an actual free market situation, I refer you to the book that I mentioned in one of my previous videos already. It's an excellent book that's called Capitalism, the Unknown Ideal. It's a collection of essays put together by Ayn Rand and her fellow objectivists that does a very thorough job of exposing the ideological basis of the opposition to capitalism, and actually does a great job of explaining the underlying morality and philosophy of a free market system. It's a great defense of capitalism that any thinking person should familiarize themselves with. I'm going to read you a short passage from the book. I got it right here. That will illustrate to you how one particular aspect, a particularly nasty aspect of the government's intrusion into the economy, namely the antitrust legislation, what kind of damage it can do and has done to various industries. It's an example of one company called Alcoa, a leading aluminum producer here in the States. Let me read it first and we'll talk about it a little bit. Those who allege that the purpose of the antitrust laws is to protect competition, enterprise, and efficiency need to be reminded of the following quotation from Judge Learned Hand's indictment. Learned Hand. That was his actual name. Dude, what a name. Learned Hand's indictment of Alcoa's so-called monopolistic practices. Quote, "It was not inevitable that it, Alcoa, should always anticipate increases in the demand for ingot and be prepared to supply them. Nothing compelled it to keep doubling and redoubling its capacity before others entered the field. It insists that it never excluded competitors, but we can think of no more effective exclusion than progressively to embrace each new opportunity as it opened and to face every newcomer with new capacity already geared into a great organization, having the advantage of experience, trade connections, and the elite of personnel." End quote. Ayn Rand continues, Alcoa is being condemned for being too successful, too efficient, and too good a competitor. Think about it. Think about the text of this indictment. Basically, they're saying this. What Alcoa did was it was effectively the sole producer of aluminum, but it was acting as though it was expecting hordes of competitors to arrive any minute. That is why they explored every damn opportunity they could find. They were continuously seeking new ways to improve efficiency and cut costs and train better people and come up with better equipment and better methods of production, extraction, whatever it is that they do. So that every time there was a market opportunity, they were already there, best prepared to exploit that opportunity. And as they were doing that, they were keeping everybody satisfied. All the customers were getting their aluminum, even as demand grew. And they were keeping prices very low and very favorable for consumers. So everybody was happy. Now, they're being accused of doing that. They are being accused of being efficient. You see, so why? What's the logic there? Well, this perverse illogic of this indictment is something like this. Well, you see, they were very good, and nobody else had a chance. Nobody had a prayer because they were just far better than everybody else. They had the best people, they had the best technology, they had the best methodology, best work practices, best industry connections. Well, they worked for those connections. They developed them. They built trust with suppliers and customers. That's why they had the trade connections. They were able to attract the best people because they offered the best careers, the best pay. So they're being accused of exactly those things. So what would you have them do? Judge Hand, learned Hand. What would you have them do? Would you have them be a lousy company that could not keep the costs down and that would have to raise the prices on the end product and make the consumers unhappy so that another competitor who's also inefficient could finally compete with them? But because they were so efficient, because they were so good at what they did, nobody came close. And that is a monopoly that they're being accused of? They've cornered the market? Give me a freaking break. Ayn Rand continues. Whatever damage the antitrust laws may have done to our economy, whatever distortions of the structure of the nation's capital they may have created, these are less disastrous than the fact that the effective purpose, the hidden intent, and the actual practice of the antitrust laws in the United States have led to the condemnation of the productive and efficient members of our society because they are productive and efficient. Anybody who thinks that the United States is a free market economy, wake the fuck up.